Hey guys, we're going to talk about a movie from the new ViaVision Imprint range. It's a new boutique label from ViaVision Australia, and we're talking about their fourth one that they've released called The Duelists. And this movie I love this movie too. I know I'm just going to keep coming out and saying I love these movies, but I didn't love it as much as the other ones, but I certainly enjoyed it. It's a Ridley Scott film, which is probably why. Because I love Ridley Scott. He makes amazing films. One of my favorite films, obviously from Alien series, is Legend. Man, such a good film. Anyway, this I've got nothing. I got no idea about Napoleon Bonaparte and the whole story about what he did. And I know obviously that he was a huge player in running and ruling all of Europe back in like the 1800 for like nearly 20 years or something like that. But even though this is set from about 1800 to about 1818, I believe, or 1816, it doesn't really have anything to do with Napoleon. It's just set in Napoleon's time with a couple of his followers or generals or whatever you want to call them. And it's Harvey Keitel's characters. This has Keith Carradine and Harvey Keitel, and I was watching this and I was like, who is Keith Carradine? I recognized him the whole time through the movie. I couldn't figure out where I'd recognize the guy from, and he plays Lundy, the character Lundy from Dexter, and I was like, oh, of course, it makes sense now. But anyway, Keith Carradine's character and Harvey Keitel, Harvey Keitel, his character, I can't think if he's Dumond or something. I can't remember his name. I think it's Dumond. Yeah, anyway, he likes to duel with swords. He feels like his honor or he's being disrespected all the time, and he just likes to duel. And at the very start, he fights someone that he's not supposed to. He duels him, he injures them severely. I don't believe he kills them, but he does injure them. And then Keith Carradine's character has to go and bring him to either bring him to the jail or bring him to the mayor or something, or bring him somewhere. He has to go and essentially get him and tell him, hey, you got to stop dueling people, mate. You're getting everyone in trouble here. And so Harvey Keitel thinks that he's done something against his honor. He's like, you've defaced my honor, so now we have to duel. So it goes over a span of like 16 years. They have about 5 duels, and he just at the very first duel, Keith Carradine's character gets the sort of like the one up, and then the next duel he gets Harvey Keitel's character gets the one up and severely injures them, and then they have to heal and they can't battle, and then vice versa, and it just keeps chopping and changing, and they never actually kill each other, but they severely injure each other on multiple occasions. And because it spans over like 18 years, they use different weapons, they have different styles in different places, but it's always the same. They always just, whenever Harvey Keitel sees Keith Carradine, he's like, right, we're going to duel at sundown or at sunup. And because Keith Carradine's character, he is a big believer in honor and all that sort of stuff, he obliges him because he's like, well, okay, it's a matter of principle, matter of honor, let's do it. But he doesn't want to do it, but he just has to because he's a man of honor. And the end was awesome. I really liked the way this ended. 18 years later, they finally meet up again for one last duel. This is after the defeat of Napoleon, and I want to say before the Battle of Waterloo, but it's after but it might not. It's probably not. But it's after the defeat of Napoleon. So all the royals, the English royals have taken over, but France and stuff. But this is really good. There's some interesting cuts in this where they're on a horse. Like they're going to duel by horse riding with swords and stuff like that. And they cut to some really weird cuts to the past and then back to the horse battle and then back to the past and back to the horse battle and stuff. I know, it's just really weird. It's just really odd. But aside from that, it was a little bit hard to follow. I couldn't really make like the military side of it and the history side of it. I had no idea what was going on. But essentially, the main story between these two, you got a fair idea. You certainly can watch it and understand what's going on, and you can really appreciate the those characters and what they've done over a span of 18 years for Napoleon in his army, because essentially they're in the army and you follow them throughout their different campaigns, and I'm sure they're major points in Napoleon time, but I got no idea. But yeah, this is really good. I really enjoyed it. Transfer was fine. This looks amazing. It's probably one of the better looking ones, for sure. And it is only a 1080p presentation of the film. So there's no 4K restoration here. There's no upscaling. There's nothing. But it looked awesome. So credit to them there. There's a couple of audio commentaries on this. There's an interview with Keith Carradine. Excuse me. And there's Ridley Scott and Kevin Reynolds interview, because it's a dual. Kevin Reynolds has got something to do with it as well. But I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure you will too. If you haven't seen it, it's one of those films I never would have watched, or no, I probably never would have come across this film, I should say, if it wasn't for this Imprint range from ViaVision Australia. I'm gonna stop looking at myself on camera, but I'm glad they did, because I really enjoyed it. So I wouldn't have probably found this movie if it wasn't for that range. So number 4 in the set so far, and this copy of the disc, 2075 out of however many they made. So yeah, definitely get that one if you like soft action. It's not overly action like like a Terminator or something like that, but there's enough in there to keep you going, keep you happy. Yeah, check that one out for sure.